guys, man, have I got something cool today to look at. This is an Agile, I believe it's an Intrepid. I don't remember the actual number. It's got a 27 in it because it's got a 27-inch scale. I found this on my local Craigslist for $100. And sometimes when you're shopping on Craigslist, you see pictures that aren't super great. And I saw these pickups, and for the price, I was like, are those bare knuckles? And the only reason I thought that is because of the pattern on them, but the picture was a little bit fuzzy, so I couldn't tell if it was the actual pattern or something somebody did homemade. And if you're looking at this, you can tell at this point it's homemade. So these pickups are not bare knuckle pickups. So there's an interesting, I went through an interesting path to make sure of that, and I'll show you what that is here in just a second. I'm a huge fan of these guitars. These are made in South Korea, sold through rondomusic.com. If you've been a fan of the channel for a while, you've probably seen my Pendulum Pro, which is another Agile guitar that has multi-scale fretboard. It's got EMG 707s. Actually, I think those are 808s because they're angled. But yeah, so I was all excited about this because I was like, wow, dude, if that has bare knuckle pickups, one of these pickups is worth, double what I'd be paying just for the whole guitar. So that's crazy. So the strings were set incredibly low, and the high string was fretting out like crazy. The high E, you see there's the Agile on the headstock. And one of the first things I noticed in the picture is it said KM7. See that KM7? And I know that Agile has never made a KM7 model. I know Schecter has, and Schecter's KM7, the KM stands for Keith Merrow, a famous sort of, I believe, metal guitar player. So I was like, okay, that's kind of a red flag. But for $100, you can't go wrong. So I've already taken the strings out. What's cool about this is an actual Floyd. It's not a licensed, it's not a special, it's an actual Floyd, which is cool. However, this block is pretty long, and I am honestly not sure. I guess that's the original block that was on here. However, see, made in Germany. Let me see that. Made in Germany. Whatever. Anyway, so it's got to be the original block, right? But I think what happened was the guy, whoever had this before, had bottomed out the tremolo so much that when he did that, let's flip it over here, that when he did that, he had to cut a big hole in the plastic because that bar, the block was sticking out just a little bit. That's another thing. These guitars are well built, man. They really are, like neck through. Just get a little buckle rash on it. But so here we have the active batteries, the battery holder for the active pickups. And so an active pickup obviously takes a 9-volt or 18-volt battery or more. Sometimes people go crazy, but there's not one in here. And the reason there's not one in there is because these pickups that are in there are passive. So right away, not only have the pickups been changed, man, they weren't changed very well. Look at this. Let's get real close. See how these holes don't line up exactly? And you can really see it up here on the neck pickup. See how they don't line up? See how this one's been drilled out to accommodate the width of the pole pieces? As soon as I saw that, I knew this was a hack job and that it wasn't going to be any kind of good pickups under there. But I bought it anyway because I love these guitars and I can put my own pickups in and save money that way, off of buying a new one. Plus, it had a maple neck, which I was looking for. So I want to take you in. Remember how I said that I was hoping they were bare knuckle pickups, and then I went down kind of a strange path for them. So, okay, first, the fuzzy picture made me think, hey, those covers are could be juggernauts. Who knows? Let's see what they are. But I got there. Obviously, they don't look like real covers because they aren't. So I've taken this off before already. And just the fact that there's 6 screws in here is kind of funny to me. That's an awful lot of screws just for a cavity cover. But I guess it's a big one, so... I wouldn't have done that, man. I would have found a better way. And we will fix that. Even if we have to take a little bit off the block, which I don't think we're going to have to do because we're not going to have the strings flat against the fretboard like the guy did. It's amazing what people do to guitars. It really is. I'm guilty too. I've done all kinds of crazy, weird things to guitars, which is probably why a lot of you guys are on this channel. So check this out. There's a freaking bare knuckle capacitor in here. Look at that. 22 microfarad. Oil and paper capacitor. Big old thing. So, the guy who had it, and also, so the guy who had it didn't know anything about it, really. So I'm not sure where he got the guitar, but he didn't even seem to know much about guitar. So my theory is maybe somebody had bare knuckles in it, and when they went to sell it, they wanted to make it look like it still had bare knuckles in it, which is ridiculous. But maybe they did. And I will say this, they got the tone pot wired in reverse, and this thing has almost no output whatsoever. So I'm pretty sure something might be leaking to ground somewhere, because even with crappy pickups, it should have more output than it does. So let's take a look and see what lies beneath these covers, because I suspect these covers aren't even really attached to the pickups very well just by looking at them. And we will be putting new pickups in. I actually have a signature set of Jeff Loomis Seymour Duncan blackouts that will fit the soap bar cutout here. And I am very excited to get those. Thank you, eBay, for cheap deals, or else I wouldn't have been able to afford them. But because it's got the battery compartment in the back, I figured, well, we may as well make it active like it's supposed to be. So here's something else. Before I take this cover off, here's something else. I emailed the guy, Kurt, the guy who was basically responsible for Rondo Music selling these guitars. I emailed him and I said, hey man, I don't know anything about this guitar, but I've bought a couple of your guitars in the past. I love them. If I give you the serial number, can you help me out? I gave him the serial number, which is super classy, right here on the back. There you go. And literally within a day, he got back to me, which is just awesome that he was that nice and took that time out of his day to get back to me. And he gave me a page with a spec sheet. This guitar originally came with the MG707s. And did confirm the 27-inch scale on it, which is amazing. And said it was manufactured in 2013, and even gave me the name. Maybe he shouldn't have. He just said it was sold to a Mr. blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to say the guy's last name on here, but... so yeah, if you are Mr. blah, 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 hit me up. This is your guitar. But yeah, in 2013, it was sold to a guy, I believe, in New York. So it's had a fun history. So let's take this off. And also, Kurt was super cool to do that. Look at that. Right off, no trouble. Is there anything on this pickup that's going to tell me anything? No. So that's as Chinese as it gets right there. And it's a little bent. The plate's a little bent too, and badly cut. Wow, that is a really badly cut plate. That's as cheap as it gets. So there's some markings from the factory. So that says 48, maybe, whatever that means. You can see the wood through neck through body here. That's I'm not even going to put the cover back on. Screw it. That's pretty awful. Okay. Wow. These are cheap. I think the guy took the cover, because if you notice, there's no... unless he cut them off, which is possible. That might be part of... I bet that is what happened. Yeah, there's part of the tab right here. This guy cut the tabs off the pickups. So he cut the plate of the pickup to fit this. It's amazing. It's amazing what people will do to guitars. All right, I'm just gonna put this in to hold it in place so I can show you something else super fun and interesting about this guitar. Which the top is kind of glossy, but it does need to be buffed. It's a little bit, it's softened a little bit, if that makes sense. Beautiful guitar though. So let's look at the back of this headstock. First off, nick through. So looking at the back of the headstock, tell me if your OCD triggers like mine did. What are these? Okay, so this guitar has a locking nut, has a Floyd Rose. If you have a locking nut, you don't need locking tuners, for one thing. Second off, if you don't have enough locking tuners, you don't need to put ESP tuners on the back. Just keep the original tuners. So these two are ESP. These two are weird locking tuners of an unknown brand. I mean, I guess if you just want to be able to change your strings faster, because you don't have to really wrap strings around a post if you have locking tuners. You just put them through, tighten them down, and there you go. But it's a little bit of redundancy there if you have locking tuners and a locking nut. So that's kind of weird. And of course, there's our hole left over. And I saw that when I bought it. It didn't even bother me just because of how good these guitars are built, in my opinion. So, man, I get a lot of cool guitars, and I have bought and sold so many recently that there's no way I've been able to keep up with them in the videos. I would say I put about 10% of the guitars I go through on my channel. So, yeah, if you guys are friends on Facebook, you probably see a lot more of the crazy instruments I find. But this thing, man, this is going to be a player. You guys are going to see it again, and as soon as these pickups come in, I can't wait. I have to put this thing together and start jamming on it, because I love maple necks. I love flame tops. This thing was just, and it had problems, and it was cheap, so it was screaming Richard all day long. Alright guys, thank you for checking out this video. I hope you found it interesting, and if you haven't heard of Agile guitars, check out rondomusic.com. They have some amazing instruments for awesome prices. Also, this guitar originally sold for just about $800, according to Mr. Kurt at Rondo. But alright, thanks guys, and I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you again next time.